Folks, hello and welcome back to the Marketing and Business Show. My name is Peter Langan. I hope you're all doing well. I'm joined by Alex. Alex is in Scotland. And Alex has made a discovery. Alex, please share with people what you're just saying before we hit record.
What about me being nearly on the verge of burnout, or
no,
the fact
the internet?
The fact my phone won't connect to my MacBook 5 feet over there. So basically, I live in an old Scottish house, and it seems that the walls are very thick. So if I sit near the windows, the internet works very well. If I do not sit near the windows, the internet does not work very well. And Peter always assumes I'm on dial-up connection.
You see, I always find it ironic, right? You see, Alex makes his living online, but yet it's an amazing point. He doesn't have an internet connection as such. He uses his mobile phone hotspot, which shows you do not need an internet connection to actually make money online.
I've just realized my microphone is not turned on. I'm actually coming through my Mac speaker as well today, so the audio may not be as crisp as it usually is.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, folks, you might notice I'm not in the same spot as usual either. I'm actually downstairs sitting in the sitting room. My office was commandeered. I was put out and I'm here now. But I had to bring the microphone with me because I just couldn't let Alex win with me not
digital
using
nomads.
It, so.
That's what we are. We're digital nomads. We can just move around.
Just move around. That's what it's all about.
Freedom.
But complete freedom, right? You're in Scotland, you can say it. An Englishman in Scotland shouting freedom. Ironic. So, we are going to talk about a very exciting topic. Well, I don't know if it's very exciting, but it's definitely very apt. I went to Alex and I was like, do you know what, we need to do a podcast because we always want to do one. Like, and I was kind of like, oh, do you know, we'll do one on outbound marketing, you know, all this different outbound channels, which we may do. But Alex says, no, he wants to, and he's always on point, Alex, you know, he says he wants to discuss burnout. So Alex, burnout, what do you mean?
Well, I'll give you a bit of context before we talk about it. I mean, my brain right now is mush. Like, to try and come up with something interesting to talk about, and outbound marketing just sounded like it would be very heavy on the brain. So I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to lovely people of this show, listeners, about something that's probably quite relatable to a lot of people. Yeah, the super fans, about burnout. So I don't know if you can hear Amanda's just rustling whatever she's eating. Sat next to me. But anyway, yeah, burnout. So it's funny if I actually look back at some of the podcasts we've launched in the last couple of weeks, because I always talk at the start when you ask me, like, how are you doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing really well. Like, all this momentum is happening. Got all this stuff going on. And then today it literally felt like I was just trudging through treacle for the whole day. And like, you know, you try and work towards things, and usually some of those things are quite easy to do. Today, everything just literally felt like everything was hard. There was always a brick wall in front of me, what I was trying to achieve. In the end, me and Amanda said, like, let's just go out for some food. Like, we just went for a fish and chip meal out, just to get out of the house and try to hit the reset button in like a small scale way.
Yeah, but see, I suppose over the last while, like, you know, between what we're doing, what you're doing, all the content you're creating, you're probably just tired.
100%. Like, maybe it's quite naive of me, you know, and you're like, you think you're superhuman until you're not superhuman. Like, you think nothing can affect you, and then something, or just your body just decides, you're burning the candle at both ends. You need to take a day off, or you need to take some time away. And I almost think like this is kind of like what we talked about one of the other episodes about momentum, and it comes in cycles. I feel at any point in someone's journey, like they go through burnout, or they go through that feeling of they've done too much. They need to back off the accelerator and just chill out for whatever how long it'll be until they.
I was just looking there. That was about a month ago, so it's probably about right. It's funny, today I spent the whole day like just doing literally outbound. So like, for those of you who don't know, I've spent the last, I'd say 2 weeks literally like DMing and then emailing people like for this data thing we're doing, right? And to be honest with you, like cold outbound is hard work. I don't care what anyone says. If you're doing it manually, like there's ways you can automate it and all that, but I'm actually just doing it manually. I'm looking for companies I think are a good fit, and then I'm actually research them a bit to make sure they are a good fit. And then I'm actually reaching out to them. And like, it just takes so much mental energy to do that. And even today, I'm starting to feel like, you're just like, you're nearly like, you're just tired. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I can't really stop doing it because I don't want to stop. I realize I've connected a long time ago, business success, client success, all that comes down to making contact. Like our very first client, like probably our biggest client, that was probably this is a year ago, Alex, and it was one of the first clients we reached out to, and it was just via email, manually, just found them. They'd listed a trademark. It's a good way, as I said, if anyone ever wants to find a company that's, just starting something new, look for the trademarks. But they'd launched a trademark, a registered trademark. We emailed them, and literally that led to so many other things after that.
Yeah, 100%. I've actually started looking at the way I work a lot differently now, though, as well. I don't know if you can relate to this. So I used to be a massive fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, like massive fan of this whole, like he's a big fan of like long, when if you have a 9-to-5 job that you're trying to get out of, then you get home at like 5, 6 o'clock and you work till like 2 a.m. kind of thing. And for most people, that's unrealistic and it's unachievable. It's just like a silly idea. I personally think, because you just end up burning out and your brain literally doesn't have that much mental capacity to do focused work for that long. So I've usually now on a good day, 4 hours of focused work on a task or tasks is like, that's my maximum. And I try and almost work in short, sharp sprints almost. So like do like half an hour of focused work on something, whatever it is, and then have a break and then keep having breaks, whether you want to have a break or not. Make sure you go away and connect your mind from whatever you're doing, whether it's walking. I used to just go and walk the dog or ride my bike or something just to get away from the actual thing of what I'm doing. And that seems to help when I come back. It gives me a bit more of a fresh mind and some more like cognitive energy to go again. But I feel anything after 4 hours, my brain literally starts to turn to mush. So if I try and come back in the evening, say when I'm least productive, like now doing podcasts and stuff is different. This is almost like a different kind of creative energy. I don't like, it's not like
chat.
a mod. Yeah. Like it is energy, but it's different. And I feel I could, this is not taking up any mental energy at all. Whereas doing like you're doing outbound marketing, I could not do that now. My brain would be making really bad decisions. It would be making poor judgment. And it would just be really low quality work. Even if I was trying to push through, like, let's just get the hours in, when actually progress sometimes isn't related to how many hours you put in. It's almost like what you put into those hours that counts more. So yeah, that's kind of like a thing I've realized recently. After 4 hours for me is max. I'm done.
Yeah, I get you. And I think science would back that up. You can probably only do about 4 hours. Yet, to be honest with you, speaking from my own point of view, like I'm doing more than 4 hours a day. Like, probably you are. Like, you probably are doing more than that too. But like at the same time, the 4 hours is the best. After that, it just starts going downhill. That's kind of a funny thing. Why I always never got the 9 to 5, because it's nearly like you're in the office from 9 to 5. Like those extra 4 or 5 hours in the evening for most people in offices, like it's hard enough for us. We're working for ourselves. Imagine you're working for someone else and you're doing 4 or 5 hours in the evening. I just don't think they're actually productive. I think companies wouldn't lose much by letting people go home at certain, like in the afternoon.
It's flawed mentality, isn't it? I mean, that the 9 to 5. Again, before I say this, I have nothing against anyone working in a job or a 9 to 5 because, that's the reality for a lot of people. And you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. But sometimes I don't really understand the mentality that it takes you from 9, like it takes everybody 8 hours to do their work. Like that to me makes no sense, because if you could finish an 8-hour block of work in say 3 hours, then a company probably would just say to you, well, why don't you just do 5 more hours then, kind of thing, of other stuff. It makes no sense. You almost get penalized for being more productive in some essences anyway. Not all. But yeah, it's interesting.
Just it's what I always think of. I always find that a bit funny. But yeah, so like I said, today I've been just doing so much outreach. And I said you could automate that stuff, but I want to do it manually because I think it's better. But there's only so much of that you can do in a day. But I may have said this on another podcast. I've connected like the outreach, all that with actually getting more clients. So that's why I just keep doing that. I keep doing it. I keep doing it. But what you've said there is like, there's a certain point where you just like, you need to call it quits, which I do struggle with. Like I struggle with switching off. Like I don't switch off. That's I could be sitting watching TV here now, but I'd still be thinking of stuff. I just don't know how to switch off. Sometimes I wish I could switch off, but I can't.
Yeah. My brain's the same. I'm always thinking about something that's in relation to the bigger picture of where I want to go with things. But having said that, though, like when you're working on things that you enjoy, like genuinely actually enjoy, and you're striving towards something, like for me at the minute, building this personal brand and doing what we're doing together, like it doesn't, in some essence, it doesn't actually tire me out. Like I could keep going and going and going. And then, it's one of them feelings where you look at the clock and you're like, shit, I've actually been going for so long, and time just kind of, went past without me even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I actually read a really interesting book about this. Well, listened to an audiobook called Flow. And
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
I can't actually pronounce the guy's name. He's called Mikael Chai. I don't know. He's got a really funny last name I cannot pronounce. But he talks about flow state in that, and he analyzes different people and where people find happiness and stuff like that after, like, he talks stuff like the tragedies and the war and stuff. And that was really interesting to see him talking about flow state. Because you must have been in that zone before, where you get into this like place where you have all this focus and energy, and like almost time goes past does it go past slower or fast?
I know, fast. I know where you're going, like, and then it's literally like
unexplainable. It's unexplainable, but you can't, like the way I used to describe this when I used to do a lot of downhill mountain bike racing, I'd have some of my best results when I was like in this flow state, right? And the way you get into that flow state is it's almost unexplainable, because the more you try to get into that flow state, the further away it gets. It's just almost like a subconscious reward for the work you put in. And you're in this state, and you're almost like when I was in a downhill race, you couldn't hear spectators cheering. You couldn't, literally, you were in this really strange headspace, and you hit every line on the track perfectly. You almost felt invincible. You were riding really fast. Like it's a mad place. That's from an athlete standpoint. But if you put that into like a business perspective or content creation or anything like that, it's kind of similar. Like you sometimes look at the clock and you're like, holy shit! Like I've been going at this for so much longer, and so much longer time than it felt.
Yeah, it's nearly like when you get into that state, you're nearly not thinking, if you know what I'm saying, because it just happens. Yeah. It's like you get out of your own way.
Yeah. Do you know, I don't know if this is going to be a bit of a controversial topic, actually, where this is going, but you always hear a lot of successful people have taken psychedelics before, or,
funny, Alex, I don't, but maybe that's the circles you're in.
See, like, even look at like Steve Jobs and stuff like that. Like they actually said that a lot of their success would never have happened or materialized if they hadn't taken psychedelic drugs. And I'm not talking like massive amounts, I don't think, but like a lot of people use psychedelics now in microdoses to like enhance cognitive function and focus and stuff like this. I actually haven't really tried any really types of psychedelics, but I would actually be genuinely interested to see what effect that would have when it comes to focus and burnout and stuff like this.
It's funny though. I think a lot of that, again, it's nearly like placebo effect. So someone would say, oh, I'll take this, and now I'm supposed to be this way. The brain's like, yeah, you're supposed to be this way. And therefore they are. It's like that idea. If you give one person a pill with a drug, the other person a pill with just sugar or whatever, they both have improvements. It's like, what? Yeah. You know what I mean? Against the standard. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's in our head. I think a lot of it comes down to, it's what you believe. It's funny. I'm listening today. I was doing a lot of like, just about sales calls and stuff. And just like, I would have done a lot of selling when I was young, just machines. I would have talked about this before, but I haven't done so much selling lately online. And like what a lot of people sort of say before a call is just get yourself in a certain zone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just get yourself in a certain mindset, and then actually just use that into the call. Whereas if you come to the call all nervous, that comes across. Whereas if you change your state before you go into the call, you suddenly, like, you're on a flow. You're kind of just like, everything seems to just, every word just rings off the tongue perfectly for the right word, the right time. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I think you'll never get people to fully agree either way.
No, yeah, everyone's completely different, right? I mean, definitely. I felt burnout was a good thing to talk about today because it's probably something that every single person can relate to. Like, so everybody goes through ebbs and flows of feeling on such real highs of focus and being driven and doing cool stuff. And then equally, there's always a yin with a yang. There has to be like night and day, black and white. There's like always the opposite. And this is the same. Like, to have momentum, you have to have some level of the opposite side of it, like burnout. Well, not burnout, but like.
And I wonder, you're talking about flow there. Like, I wonder, does everyone get into that sort of like mindset differently? So for some people, could it be being surrounded by people in a certain environment? For other people, could it be like, I wonder, is it just different for everyone?
Do you know what? Funny you say this. I actually wrote about this in a newsletter this morning, and I was talking. I did a big post on Instagram the other day, and it was about people not valuing themselves. I don't feel some people realize how valuable they are, and obviously that holds people back from doing what they want to do. And
again, that's society, I suppose.
Yeah, I wrote some Instagram stories about it, just explaining to people what I thought, and I put together a bunch of videos as well, just to share some more thoughts on it if anyone was interested to see that. And it was all more from a creator standpoint. So obviously I do a lot of content creation, and this was more aimed at people who wanted to create more content and get more brand deals, get paid to create content, doing what they were doing. And I think a lot of people took that the wrong way. Not a lot of people took it the wrong way. I mean, a few people messaged me and they were almost saying, I'd love to do that, but I'm struggling because I have a 9 to 5. I literally don't have any energy I can't actually see how it would work for me to, almost jump ship from that and go straight into this. And then I was thinking, maybe I should have framed it differently. So I wrote the newsletter today, and it was called, what's the newsletter called? It was basically called something like How to Become a Part-Time Creator While Working Full-Time, something like that. And it was basically showing people that you could do more of what you enjoy while still having a job, which is the reality for most people. But in that, I talked about getting into this flow state. And I explained a little bit, I touched on how I get in a flow state, or what's kind of like worked for me when it comes to doing like cognitive tasks. And there were certain things that seem to have worked, seem to always be there to get me in this zone. And if I look back now, it's coffee. Like I have to have some sort of coffee, a standing desk, so I've realized, dim light. So like, not like a massively bright room. What else was there? Sometimes even headphones with no sound in. Like, maybe that's come from my selfish side. Like, sometimes I wear no headphones and I'm walking around to go to Costa and Peebles, actually, just because I don't know. It's just me being selfish. I just don't want to be distracted on things. So sometimes I'll just wear headphones, not to almost be like, maybe we shouldn't talk to that guy. But I sometimes wear that in the house, like just with the noise cancelling thing on. So then it just blocks out everything. It's like this really, I don't know, it's just a good feeling.
But sometimes I prefer sometimes I just put on music though. I actually put on like just dance music or whatever type of music, and I'll just play away at that, but I won't even hear the music. But I just want that to get working. But it just depends. I think it's different. Like in the morning you want no music, and then evening you want music. It's mad.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Have you ever tried binaural beats or anything like that?
Brain.fm.
That's the same thing.
Probably that. Like, that's the same thing. Yeah.
Same things. It's just like different frequencies of sound that, send different waves into your brain. If anyone's ever tried those, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't,
I remember though I use that. Like, it's like, I think it's like €3 a month or something like that. Right. And I remember I was using one like, and it was like, what was it like? It's like concentrate more, like, or whatever, it's like, intense work. And I turned it up to high. But like literally, I think if you go into that and you're in a bad mood, I don't think it's good. As in, if you're going to concentration one, if you're like, you say if you're annoyed about something, I think it'd make you worse. Whereas I think if you go into that and you're in a good mood and you want to work on something, I think it's absolutely brilliant.
That's interesting. Actually, it's almost like amplifying whatever energy is already inside you, or whatever. That's mad. So maybe
you have to be positive. You just have to be positive. You are what you think. You have to think positively. And that's something I've been working on so much this year. Well, I don't even feel I have to work on it as much anymore. Like, I think things. I just keep doing things. I just keep doing it. I don't quit.
It comes back to that momentum thing, though. It comes back to that momentum thing. That's, for me, I feel when I have momentum, I'm happy, or like I'm in a state of flow. Like if I feel I'm making progress towards something, or momentum, or whatever it is, that's to me when I'm making the most progress, and I'm in this state of like, cool, this is working.
It's funny though, right? I just feel this year is like, I know we're 1 month into it, but I feel this year has been a great growth year so far.
100%.
I think it's been more growing. I think it's been more growing this month than it was in 12 months previous.
Yeah, we've made more progress. I'm just talking from a business standpoint now. We've probably made more progress in this last 40 days than we have probably in the last 6 months, I would say.
Yeah, and then still, sometimes you want it to move faster, but like sometimes you don't see the progress, but you know it's there. I know things are just, it's just a feeling.
Yeah, it's that iceberg thing, isn't it? When you only see the tip of it and not everything that's underneath it that you're working on or that's going to help with the future of the progress or whatever. Aye.
It's mad. So much to learn, like. It's just, it's unreal. But folks, I think that's probably enough from us for this evening. But I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure, as always, please subscribe, like and rate.
Please
we are now
subscribe to our channel.
But I tell you, we actually, Alex, I didn't get to say it. We are actually, this is our 10th episode.
Oh my God, we need to celebrate and throw a party.
Do
you know what might be worth actually asking as well? It might be worth throwing this out there. If any of you guys ever want to come on the podcast as a guest and you have an interesting topic or idea on anything to do with marketing and business or anything we've already talked about, feel free to hit us up because we're always open to jumping on with people. Yeah. And we're actually talking with a couple of people who have expressed interest in coming on. So, yeah, if you've got anything interesting to share, please hit us up and let us know.
Do, because the show has to grow, like, that's what it's all about. Like, and people coming on here, having a chat with them, sharing their ideas, their thoughts. We get better as hosts. You guys learn something new, and it's just exciting to do it. I don't see any harm in it at all. I think it'd be great.
Totally.
Perfect. Well, folks, until the next time, we'll chat you soon.
See ya.